Hello, welcome to Farm Talk. I made my way all the way to Botswana, and we're going to talk about the genetics they have here in their stud market, what they do, and how they breed. And I've got one of the bigger names in the industry here next to me, Clive Marshall, from the Charolais stud, and we're going to talk about how they farm here, how they do things, and exactly what you need to know. And yeah, come walk with me through Botswana as we find out exactly what's going on. Clive, good morning. How are you?
Well, thanks, Tinus. Yeah.
Clive, you've been in Botswana for many years now. Botswana is in your blood almost. Stud farming is more so in your blood. You love what you do. It's not just a hobby. It's a passion. It's almost who you are. Where did the love for stud breeding come from?
Tinus, as far back as I can remember. I always wanted to be a cattleman. And being brought up in London, there wasn't a hell of a lot of cattle there. So I always knew that I'd have to find a place to work with cattle, and I started in the UK. I worked there from 1978 until 1985, and then into South Africa, 85 to 93, and then from 93 all the way till now in Botswana.
You've chosen to bring the Charolais or start the Charolais stud in Botswana. Any particular reason why you chose that specific breed for yourself?
Yeah, Tinus, I worked with Charolais in the UK. So from really the age of 16, I've been working with Charolais cattle. So to me, it was just a natural progression. I was very fortunate enough to be in South Africa. I ran the biggest Charolais stud there at one stage, so it was Shervitz and Plout. And when in 1993 they sold up, I was into Botswana then working for Hervit's Group, who wanted to start a stud, and I bought the same genetics from South Africa that I was working with, and I brought them into Botswana to start the Hervit's Group stud. I was very fortunate enough then to buy that stud in 2007. So the work the cattle I have here now, I've been working with since 1993.
We've spoken earlier, and you mentioned to me that you've got a very specific way of choosing your genetics, and you only bring in genetics from certain countries. What's the reason for that, and why do you see it that way?
Okay, Dennis, the stud that we have in Botswana is what they call full French. In other words, we don't use a bull from any country outside of France, Ireland, and the United Kingdom. The reason for that is that the breed outside of those countries, or outside most of those European countries, has been infused, over the years. Firstly, to get the pole factor, they brought in Aberdeen Angus. And then in the 80s, to get them bigger, they brought in Chianina, etc., etc. So we have never done that. In other words, we look for a change in phenotype from within the breed. We don't look outside the breed to bring in the phenotype. Subsequent to that, obviously an animal that's been bred for many, many generations is truer to type than an animal that has been fused at any stage. You understand? That's really the reasoning for it. Yeah.
We see now with PJ Butler's Champions of the World competition that the Botswana stud breeders does not need to stand back for any, not even for the rest of Africa, but in the world. As you see, yourself got, I think, a silver medal or bronze medal in the world, and silver in the Oceanic Africa region. And it's something special to see. We see, and it's not only you. We've got Simmentals, limousines, all making a mark, and this shows that even though you're a small size country in terms of human population and cattle, that numbers isn't always everything. That you do get it right. If you've got guys knowing what they do, willing to do the hard work, and willing to take things forward.
No, thanks. We're very proud of the fact. Obviously, we did very well in that competition. The bull himself was the first calf by a bull called My Love. We imported that semen from France in 2020, 2021, around about there. 2020. He was the first calf, actually, the first straw I ever used was that bull. He was sold for a record 240,000 puller. He went to Mr. Johan Lampman in Wakkerstroom in South Africa. And we're very proud of that. As far as the size of the studs are concerned in this country, yes, we are small, but I think all the stud breeders that are registered stud breeders have the same philosophy, and that is that we'll go to great lengths to try and secure the best genetics for Botswana. We are part of the industry. We are proud of that. And we want to be able to offer the genetics to the Botswana farmer that is world rated. It's not secondary genetics or, it's stuff that we're going overseas. We're sourcing these genetics. We're bringing it into Botswana. We're producing the product. Subsequently, we're getting SADC countries coming to buy the genetics here as well. So it's really a feather in the cap for the Botswana breeders that we're getting this interest from SADC. Last year alone, we sold 4 or 5 bulls into South Africa, 2 or 3 into Namibia, 2 or 3 into Zimbabwe. And we're not the only people doing that. There's a lot of people, Simmenthaler, Charolais, Brahman, the 3 most popular breeds, are moving across SADC, which is great for Botswana.
Yeah, it's great to see that you guys are, even very small, are competing on that level all the time. But at the end of the day, it's about the Botswana national herd, if you talk about it. It's about upgrading the general farmer, general commercial farmer, and then any guy that keeps livestock. And by providing these sort of quality bulls to the market should have an impact in the future. And the guys should be willing to come and learn, even though if they don't maybe buy, but come to the auctions, come to the shows, and see what a quality should look like, understand the advantages of a Charolais bull on your animals and how well they do in the feedlot and those sort of concepts. That is something that you guys are working hard to, and the guys should understand out there.
Yeah, look, we have great support from Botswana. Great support. We couldn't have got this far without it. The fact that we've now got SADC interested. Remember, it's only a relatively new thing. So the whole business was built on the called the Botswana local guys. Absolutely, but over the years, I think it's very important to stress that the cattle that are produced here are bred for the conditions we have here.
Yeah,
and that's very, very important. This year we were very fortunate enough to win the ARC Farmers Weekly Cow for 2024.
And not an easy thing to do.
It's not an easy thing to do, but I mean, it is over the 4th time we've done it, and we're very, very proud of that. It means that while we're registered in South Africa, we are competing with all the herds in South Africa, and we're still coming out with animals that are on the top. And we're very, very proud of that. And that genetic was produced here. It was proven here under our conditions, and yet it still managed to produce animals that compete in the South African national herd, which is significant, I believe, and it shows that we're offering really good, proven genetics to the Botswana farmers.
Almost leading me into my next question. When we look at bringing animals from Europe, it takes time for them to adapt here. It takes time for them to become functional working animals. You've been through it. They've walked the road. Why does a Charolais still have a place in Botswana and in Africa for that matter?
Yeah, Tinus is a very, very good question. My work as a cattleman over the years, I have an appreciation of all breeds. All breeds were developed to do certain functions, and these were developed many, many years ago. What I can say is that a Charolais, when it's used in its correct position, and when I say correct position, I'm talking about in the position of terminal sire, stroke, 3-way cross bull. When it's used in its correct position, there's nothing on the planet that can grow as fast as a Charolais calf, and that's just how it is. But people are going to say that's nonsense, but I know that. But a good Charolais on a Cimbra cow is what I call a Rolls-Royce calf. You just don't get anything as heavier off a cow. You just don't. But it couldn't do it without the Cimbra, for instance. So that means there's an appreciation of the fact that the Simmenthaler brings to the party its growth and its milk, and then the Brahma with its mothering ability and its tick resistance, etc., etc. Every breed has a place, and I think that people must appreciate that. Charolais, when it's used in its correct position, and I'm talking about using Charolais bulls on cows, not on heifers. I'm talking about using them on cows, use them on cows with hybrid vigor, crossbred cows, F1 cows, hybrid cows. You put the Charolais sire onto that, you're going to get calves which you can both market the male and the female in the feedlot. For instance, we run 450 commercial cows. We've got Simmenthaler type cows, and not Cimbra cows by any stretch of the imagination, but they've got a bit of Cimbra and Simmenthaler in them. And we use Charolais bulls on those, and we market all the calves into the feedlot, male and female. and then we feed them, we slaughter them, etc. And that's how we do it. And if you'll find that a Charolais cross heifer out of a Simmental cow will grow as well as a Tolly of another breed, for instance. And that's being used in its position where it should have been used, which is as a terminal sire.
It just works well.
You're getting 100% of the available hybrid vigor when you use a terminal sire.
Right, last, I just want to stop quickly. There's a lot of young farmers coming through, guys that might have the capacity, and resources to start breeding. But we spoke about it earlier. It's not the easiest thing to do. It's hard work. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes patience. It takes you anyway from 5 to 15 years before you really start making your money back. It's a patience game, but it's so rewarding, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And I think, as you said in the beginning, it was passion. The big thing for a guy starting out is you've got to do your homework on the breed. There's a saying that the best breed for you is the one you like the most. And the reason it's said that is because you're going to put the maximum amount of effort into it to make it work. And there's a lot of truth in that, because if you do this thing halfway, don't do it. Don't do it, because it will hurt you, it will burn you, you won't get the results you want, and you won't get the enjoyment and the passion out of it, or the enjoyment out of the thing. You won't get it. So pick a breed that you like, then make sure that you've got a market for it. And then from then build on that. But you've got to start with an animal you like, or love, actually. You've got to love them. That's really what it comes down to.
Clive, thank you very much for talking to me. It's been lovely, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you very much indeed, Tinus.
Okay, there you have it. Not a lot of things beat passion, and quality is definitely here in Botswana, and I invite you to come here and see what they do and learn from them. If you're from South Africa, Namibia, or local, make sure you get to these shows, make sure you get to these auctions. They are really putting their best foot forward. Until next time, cheers.